You felt it, that strange, hollow ache in the middle of your chest, like something is missing. But you can't name what. You smile. You nod. You play your role perfectly. But deep down, there's a quiet tremor, a subtle glitch behind your grin, as if your soul is whispering, "This isn't me," and you know it. You've always known it. You lie, not to others, but to yourself. Every single day. You convince yourself you're happy in that job, that this relationship is enough, that your anger is just stress, that your shame is just tiredness, that your dreams were foolish anyway. And every time you do it, you dig your own grave, inch by inch, smiling with the shovel in your hands. You've become both the mask and the audience. But Freud warned us, the mind is like an iceberg. Only a fraction is visible. The rest is submerged, repressing, denying, hiding. So here's the terrifying truth. It's not the lies you tell others that destroy you. It's the lies you tell yourself. And sooner or later, that hidden self, the one you've silenced, will rise. And it won't knock. It will break the door down. You tell yourself you're just trying to stay afloat, to keep things simple, peaceful, manageable. But beneath that calm surface, there's a silent craving gnawing at your insides. You want to be whole, real, free, and yet, you're terrified of what that actually means. Because to be truly honest with yourself, you'd have to admit the truth about the life you're living. That you settled, that you're scared, that something inside you died quietly while you weren't paying attention. So you build illusions to keep the peace. You call your fear maturity, your emotional numbness discipline, your denial optimism. But what if none of that is true? What if your whole identity has become a house built on repression? A home where the doors to your real self are bolted shut, not by others, but by you? Why do you really say you're okay? Why do you work so hard to prove you're strong? Why does part of you hate the mirror in silence? Is it just comfort you're chasing? Or are you running from something you don't even have a name for? Here's the cruel paradox. You want to be loved for who you are, but you keep hiding who you are, even from yourself. You've confused safety with authenticity, peace with avoidance, control with freedom, and deep down, you can feel that something's wrong, but you don't know what. Not yet. To unravel this, we need to bring in the man who stared directly into the abyss of the human psyche. Sigmund Freud. Freud believed that you are not one self, but a battlefield. A fragile truce between the part of you that wants everything, the id, and the part that fears everything, the superego. And in between them stands a trembling negotiator called the ego, desperate to keep the peace no matter the cost, even if it means lying, even if it means burying the truth so deep that even you forget where you left it. We are never so defenseless against suffering, Freud warned, as when we love or lie to avoid it. But here's the twist that Freud revealed. You don't lie to protect yourself from others. You lie to protect yourself, from the impulses that scare you, from the memories that shame you, from the dreams you abandoned and now pretend you never wanted. The mind's favorite defense? Repression. Pushing the unacceptable into the basement of consciousness and locking the door behind it. But the basement doesn't stay silent. It leaks, it festers, and eventually, it speaks. That moment of numbness you can't explain, that sudden outburst of rage over something small, that gnawing emptiness at 2 a.m., Those are your repressed truths, pounding at the walls. Freud's framework wasn't comfortable. It was surgical. It cut past excuses and masks to show us the truth. You aren't just lying to the world. You're performing for an internal audience and forgetting that you're the one who wrote the script. Look around you. The illusion is everywhere. Shiny smiles stretched over silent despair. Perfect lives curated in pixels, while behind the screen, the soul rots in isolation. You were taught early, be strong, be polite, be normal. Translation, bury the chaos inside you and play along. And so, you do. You become the good partner who never speaks their needs, the employee who claps at meetings but secretly dreams of quitting, the friend who listens but never tells their own truth. You trade honesty for acceptance, freedom for approval, painful truth for pleasant fiction. But here's the cost. Every time you lie to yourself, you fracture. A small split, a hairline crack in the mirror of who you are. Until one day, you don't recognize your reflection. Think of the Greek myth of Narcissus. Everyone remembers the part where he falls in love with his reflection. But what they forget is this. Narcissus didn't die from vanity. He died from delusion. He mistook the image for the truth, and he starved, kneeling before a lie. You're not so different. Every time you deny what you feel, anger, lust, sorrow, ambition, you cast that part of you into shadow. You smile while starving inside. And what happens to those who live in lies for too long? They get sick, not just in the body, but in the soul. The anxiety you call random, the depression you claim just showed up, the explosive rage you blame on traffic, that's the return of the repressed, the truth demanding to be seen. And it doesn't knock gently. Because here's the haunting part. The longer you lie to yourself, the more you become a stranger to your own life. A ghost pretending to be human, smiling in group photos, dead behind the eyes. You've been taught that lies protect you. But Freud saw the truth. Lies don't protect. Here's the truth you've always felt, but never dared to say out loud. Lying to yourself doesn't protect you. It slowly kills the part of you that could have lived. Freud called it neurosis, the quiet war inside, the tension between who you are and who you pretend to be. It starts small. A white lie about what you want. A smile you fake because the truth would be too much. A dream you bury because it doesn't fit the image. But self-deception is like carbon monoxide. It's odorless, silent, and fatal. You don't notice it choking you until you forget what real air felt like. The hidden mechanism is this. Every time you repress a part of yourself, a thought, an emotion, a desire, you don't erase it. You just push it underground. And the unconscious doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive. It waits. It returns in disguise, in addiction, in panic. In a quiet life that suddenly crumbles without warning because the truth finally found a crack in your armor. You thought you were in control, but really you were hiding from yourself. And here's the darkest irony. The longer you lie to yourself, the less you know yourself. Until one day, you wake up in a life that feels like it belongs to someone else. And it does. It belongs to the mask you built, not the soul you buried. Being entirely honest with oneself, Freud wrote, is a good exercise. But he didn't mean it as a suggestion. He meant it as a warning. Because honesty isn't just noble, it's survival. When you face your truth, your hunger, your rage, your fear, you stop being controlled by it. You integrate it. You become whole. But if you keep running, you'll spend your life haunted by a stranger, and that stranger is you. Let's not pretend the consequences are subtle. They aren't. They're catastrophic. Here's what happens when you don't stop lying to yourself. You become functional, but hollow. You wake up, go to work, say the right things, do what's expected. And then one day, in the middle of brushing your teeth or scrolling your phone, you feel it. That terrifying question rising like bile. Whose life am I living? You don't break down. You fade out. Your dreams die politely. Your voice gets quieter. You stop looking people in the eye, not out of shame, but because there's nothing left to see. You get married and secretly resent your partner for seeing only your mask. You raise children and pass down the very patterns that ruined you. You call it being responsible, but what it really is slow-motion suicide. Let me show you. The man who laughs the loudest at the office party, but drinks alone every night to silence the things he won't admit. The woman who posts quotes about self-love, but stays in a relationship where she's invisible, because leaving would mean facing herself. The friend who has it all together, but wakes up with dread, because they've spent so many years performing. They don't know what authenticity feels like anymore. This isn't dramatized. This is everywhere. We were taught that self-deception is harmless, that it smooths the edges, avoids conflict, keeps the peace. But there's nothing peaceful about a life unlived, nothing safe about becoming a stranger to your own reflection. And when you die, and you will die, it won't be the fear of death that haunts you. It will be the moments you silenced yourself, the truths you swallowed, the life you could have lived. If only you had been brave enough to look yourself in the eye. So now, let's turn the mirror around. Be honest. When was the last time you told yourself the whole truth? When was the last time you admitted, I'm not okay. I hate where I am. I want something different. I'm afraid. Have you ever laughed in a room full of people while feeling completely alone? Have you stayed in a relationship because it's familiar, not because it's right? Have you convinced yourself that you don't care, just so you wouldn't have to feel rejected again? How many of your choices are truly yours, and how many are just echoes of what others expected, what you thought you should be, what you told yourself you had to become? Look at your life right now. Look closely. Where have you gone silent? Where have you shut a door and thrown away the key? Don't answer too quickly. Most people don't even realize they're lying until something breaks, until it hurts too much to keep pretending. But here's the gift, hidden inside the discomfort. This moment, this exact moment, can be your turning point. If you're brave enough to face it, if you're willing to ask, what part of me have I buried? And what would happen if I set it free? Here's the new truth, and it's not comforting, it's not kind, but it is real. Wholeness doesn't come from being good. It comes from being honest, brutally, relentlessly, unflinchingly. You don't need to be fixed. You need to stop running. Because what you call your personality might just be a defense mechanism. What you call your maturity might be repression. And what you call peace might be emotional death. This isn't about becoming better. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to lie. You will lose people when you become honest. You will scare yourself. You will shake. But that's how you know you're finally telling the truth. So ask yourself, would you rather be accepted for your mask or rejected for your soul? Because here's the paradox Freud left us with. What you repress doesn't disappear. It becomes your fate. And if you won't face it now, you will face it later. In breakdowns, in regrets, in lives half-lived. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you that still wants to live. If this video woke something up in you, subscribe. We go deep.